I call Troy Polamalu my brother. It's so close that I put him in my will. If something was to happen to my mom, his mom, I would like something was to happen to me, Ivan's mom, or his mom or my mom. Troy would be next in line to take care of my son. That's how much I care and love Troy. And the reason why was the brotherhood between you and Touch.
Yes.
Wherever you seen Craig, you seen Touch, you seen Craig. We like to call each other brothers from another state.
Exactly.
How close was y'all? When did it start?
It started, we were drafted together, in 1980. As I always reminded Tunch, I was the 5th rounder and he was just a 6th rounder. Okay, so we started from that. But really, from the time that we roomed together and I met this crazy Turk, I couldn't believe it because you know what St. Vincent bedrooms are like. It's block walls. At that time, there was no air conditioning back in my day, right? And so I'm sleeping in this room, and this guy in the middle of the night, the very first night we're there, he sits up in bed and he starts speaking in Turkish in his sleep. Now, I don't know anything about Turkey. I don't know anything about speaking Turkish. All I know is this dude that I do not know sat bolt upright in bed and started going, like this. And then he laid right back down. I was like, whoa, what just happened? What is this guy doing, man? It freaked me out, right? But from there on, we became brothers. And, it's funny because as you feel about Troy, so I was with Tunch. And we know that our brother Tunch has passed. He's with Jesus now. He's in great shape. But, he's got kids and he's got his mom. And that's something that my wife and I, we take very seriously. And we check in with them and we're doing what we need to do to take care of Mama I-10, which is Tunch's mom. So, that brotherhood, that blood, sweat, and tears that you spoke of with Troy, that's what it is. It's all about that connection you make and that brotherhood that carries you beyond your football years.
I guess we did have something in common. That's coming in together. You and Touch came in together in 1980. Troy and I came in together in 2003. And like you said, it's just that brother from another mother kind of atmosphere. You've been around, and I'm sure coming from the 80s and how you're talking and how close and how good and how accountable we held each other in the locker room in the 80s. We did the same thing in the early thousands. So I'm sure that put a smile on your heart as well. Like, okay, we finally got this kind of group back. You was a part of our championship runs. You was a part of the training camps. Actually, I sat with y'all over some fire and training camps between you and the front office guys and the equipment guys and the pre. So it's always like family. I mean, you hit it on the head when it came down to the Roonies. In the way that Pittsburgh still is pretty much running the whole organization. It's players first. It's players first, and not only do they show that, they show it over countless years, and there's a reason why Pittsburgh always been successful. So you and I always got a brotherhood. One that you was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. You started before me. You've been through the trenches. And what I tell people, football ain't football without offensive, defensive linemen. And I tell my kids, the kids that I coach, all these skilled kids who are on the outside of the box, hey man, we're nothing without offensive, defensive linemen because them boys don't have plays off. They got to bang every day. And it's a brotherhood on that offensive line. I'm sure that speaking of that brotherhood with offensive line, Pittsburgh wind up starting bad between the offensive line this year, but they wind up gelling and having the only offensive line that played the most snaps and played together this year. Your thoughts on that with the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, on how they started and how they ended for the season?
Exactly so. And before I go one further, though, I got to give you an illustration because what you hit on, that family, Ike. Now, you remember Tunch and I they always stuck us in the very back end of the plane because, all the guys up front, you guys were all the highfalutin guys. Me and Tunch were in convict row. I mean, we're as far back as you can go in the plane, except we'd be on the tail wing, if we went any further back. So we're sitting back there, and after a game, it's you guys. I'm looking at Casey Hampton, walking around, James Ferrier. I look over, I see you, I see Deshae, and you guys coming around, and Tunch leans over and goes, watch these guys. And we're sitting there looking at you guys all hanging around each other post-game, and on the plane and talking, as we're flying along. And he goes, you know why these guys are so good? He goes, look, they love each other. I mean, there is such a camaraderie that is so self-evident to even us guys sitting outside the bubble of the team, watching you guys interact with each other. And that was, to me, the secret and the core of the 70s guys, the 2000s guys, all the success, because it is so familial. It's about family. It's about, watching you. I laugh because I have these memories of you. I Bleav we were in Arizona and you were doing a dance off at the end of the game on the sidelines. Now, I was a sideline guy at that time. Do you remember that? You're looking across at somebody. I can't remember who was on the other side. Was it Deshae or was it somebody else? But you're doing a dance move the last minute of the game. You're just sinking down, going up, down, and somebody's doing it on the other side. And I'm laughing. I'm going, it's connected even when they're not together.
Yeah, that's I mean, Wolf, you hitting it on the head. That's why I like to ask some of y'all still the greats who played before us, like, what did y'all see in the early 2000s when we played? But like you said, I always start with the Rooney family. I felt like it was just a brotherhood. Like, it hurted me to give up a play because I know I had to walk back in that huddle to the rest of the guys. And you know what? It hurted me internally, but it helped me because they'll look at me and be like, man, let that play go. We need you on the next play.
Yeah.
So that's where we get this short-term memory.